All right, what's going on, everybody? Hope you guys are enjoying your day. So, today I am rocking my Ravens jersey, and that's because we're going to be talking about the man himself, number 8, quarterback Lamar Jackson. Today's topic is going to delve into the perception of Lamar Jackson and why people really look at him and say he can't throw the football. Now, this is a discussion we have talked about for so long. The whole Lamar Jackson can't throw narrative has been thrown on him since way back in his time in Louisville, and it's followed him to the NFL, and it's here to this day, despite the fact that this man has won a league MVP. Now, us as Ravens fans, we have talked about this and debated this for long, and we've defended our quarterback. We've shown the stats, we've shown what he's able to do and what he's accomplished, and yet, despite that, people still say he can't throw the football. Now, I believe there is one main reason. Obviously, you got your trolls that say he can't throw, running back, all this other stuff. We're going to ignore them. Because there are a lot of people that see the talent of Lamar Jackson, they understand what he brings to the table, yet they still don't trust in his ability to throw the football. And I believe that comes down to one specific reason, and it has to deal with the Ravens. So to give this whole discussion a little context, I was on Twitter earlier on, scrolling down and looking to see if there was any updates on the Ravens, when I actually ran upon a post by a guy named Connor. He's a Chiefs fan. If you follow him, you know what I'm talking about. He posted this question regarding Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen. He asks, why do we question the longevity of Lamar Jackson in the league, yet we don't do the same for Josh Allen? Lamar Jackson doesn't take the type of big hits that we see. In fact, he doesn't really take big hits. We don't see Lamar Jackson take big hits the way we see with Josh Allen. Lamar Jackson, despite the fact that he runs more than Josh Allen, he's running out of bounds, he's getting down, he's avoiding contact. Josh Allen is taking the challenge, lowering his shoulder and initiating contact with these defenders. He's taking more big hits than Lamar Jackson, yet he's not getting the same questions about his longevity as Lamar Jackson is. Why is that? And it was an interesting debate. I saw a lot of people in the comments discussing this. A lot were saying that it had to deal with the fact that, Josh Allen's just bigger than Lamar Jackson, so he could take those type of hits. Though I wouldn't really argue that, because Cam Newton was also a guy that took those hits, and he's bigger than Josh Allen. And, Cam's body started to break down because he took those type of hits. It eventually broke his body down. So I wouldn't argue that. Then again, I understand people will be like, that's not a good comparison because Cam Newton ran the ball more than Josh Allen runs the football, which I understand. But at the same time, I feel like if you're initiating that contact, you run the risk because you're taking those big hits. Me personally, I'd be more concerned for Josh Allen than Lamar Jackson because Josh Allen is taking those hits. Lamar Jackson may be running the ball more, but he's not taking those hits. Now, if he was, I would have absolute concern for him. But he's not. So that's where I look at that debate and said, I don't really look at that specific part of the argument. But for me, when I looked at that post, I really had to, think about what is the reason people don't want to, why are they always saying these things about Lamar? It's always Lamar, questioning his ability as a quarterback, questioning his longevity. It's always this stuff. Why are people saying this man can't last long in the league, just in the league in general? Yeah, not even just passive, but just why do they believe he can't last in the league? And I feel the main reason they believe that is because they don't trust in his ability to throw the football. And it really comes down to one thing: the Ravens. You see, what you guys got to understand is that a person's perception is their reality. Now, context definitely does matter in almost every situation. Matter of fact, in every situation, context matters. But people don't always like to utilize context. They like to focus on their overall perception. And the perception behind Lamar Jackson is he can't throw the football. Why? Because of how the Ravens are utilizing him. Lamar Jackson is seen by a lot of people as a run-first quarterback, despite the fact that he actually isn't a run-first quarterback. However, they look at how the Ravens utilize him and they see all the carries he's taken and they say, he's a run-first quarterback. When in reality, he's not. Because despite all those carries you're seeing him take, that is not due to Lamar Jackson choosing to scramble. That is due to the Ravens play designing these runs. Most of Lamar Jackson's carries are run design plays, not scrambles. Lamar Jackson doesn't scramble nearly as much as people want to think he does. He doesn't really scramble that much. In fact, Josh Allen actually scrambles more than Lamar Jackson. Of course, Lamar Jackson overall runs more than Josh Allen, but I'm just saying Josh Allen scrambles way more than Lamar Jackson because most of Lamar Jackson's carries are designed runs. He doesn't really take off like that. Yet the perception is that he's a run-first quarterback because they see all the carries. That's kind of where the issue comes in. The way the Ravens choose to utilize him is what everyone's going with. And I understand where people are coming from here. The main reason why people don't trust in Lamar Jackson's ability to throw the football is because when they look at the Ravens offense, they see that the Ravens choose to utilize his legs more than his arm. And since they choose to rely on his legs more than his arm, people don't believe in his arm. It's as simple as that. We've had players come out and praise Lamar Jackson's ability to throw the football. Of course, you saw like Des Bryant said, Lamar Jackson's ability as a quarterback is far from the issues with Baltimore. Former passing coordinator David Culley himself spoke on how Lamar Jackson has the ability to make all the throws. He's a great quarterback and spoke on this man's ability. But people don't listen to that because when they look at the Ravens, they see that all they do is really utilize his legs more than his arm. The perception is he can't throw because the reality of the situation is the Ravens utilize his legs more than his arm. And as long as that is the case, people will not believe in Lamar Jackson as a passer. Now, of course, when you look at the stats, us as Ravens fans, we've looked at the stats and showed that as a way to defend him. In 2019, he led the league in touchdown passes and was top 10 in nearly every passing statistic, such as passer rating, quarterback rating, efficiency. He was top 10 in nearly all of those except attempts and passing yards. He was top 10 in that. In 2020, despite having all these struggles with the Ravens themselves. In terms of deep ball accuracy, he ranked 6th in the league. In terms of intermediate ball accuracy, he ranked 5th in the league. These are examples that shows his accuracy and ability to throw the football. There are so many charts and stats that shows how he can throw the football, but people choose to ignore that. Why? Because they look at how the Ravens run their offense. They see that the team chooses to utilize his legs more than his arm, and that tells them this team doesn't trust in him as a passer. Even if that's not the real case, the perception is they don't trust him as a passer, so he can't throw as well as Ravens flock wants to say he can. We can defend him with the stats all day, but as long as the Ravens choose to utilize this man's legs more than his arm, the perception in the public, both in the media and with the fan base, is he can't really throw the football because they choose to use his legs more than his arm. And that's always going to be the case until the Ravens make that change. Because people will not believe in this man's ability to throw the football unless they see him truly utilize his arm. Despite what the stats say, despite what they're seeing on the game film, they see this team utilize his legs more than his arm. When it's a 3rd and short, and instead of throwing a quick pass to a receiver, he's lined up, quarterback run, one of the design runs, run up the gut, 1st down. That's what they see. That right there indicates to them, in their mind, that he can't throw. Because why are they always utilizing his arm? I'm gonna say it's not his arm, his legs. They're not utilizing his arm the way they utilize his legs. His legs take more precedence than his arm in the Ravens offense. So people look at that and say, he can't throw the football. Which, you know what? Sitting back, I don't agree with your take of Lamar Jackson not being able to throw the football. I still believe he can. I don't believe he's the greatest passer in the world. I've said this so many times. He still needs to make improvements, and I hope he is making improvements right now as we sit in the offseason. I hope to see a more polished passer in Lamar this upcoming season, and I believe the man has the work ethic to do it, so I believe he's going to be a better passer when he steps on the field in September. But at the same time, even though I believe that, I can understand where they're coming from. Because, of course, if you're seeing a team utilize their quarterback's legs more than his arm, you're going to think this guy can't throw as well as people are trying to say he can. Yeah, he won MVP, but they utilize his legs more than his arm. So people look at that and say, I just don't trust in his ability to throw the football. Now, me, when I look at that, I look at the situation and think, this is why you should actually believe in Lamar Jackson and, in fact, hope that this team can evolve. Because this man led the league in touchdown passes in a run-first offense without a number one receiver. And he's still developing as a passer. That should make you believe in his ability to throw the football. But again, with the perception being that the team utilizes his legs more than his arm, people are not willing to trust in his arm because they see the team's utilizing his legs more than his arm. So they look at that and they feel that, well, the team's using his legs more than his arm, so they must not trust in his ability to throw the football. They don't care about what all these former players, all these other experts are saying about him when they praise him and say, yes, he can throw the ball. His ability to throw the football is one of the better ones in the league. Yes, he can make all the throws. He's a great quarterback. They're not willing to believe that because they look at the offense, they look how the Ravens rely on this man's legs and don't utilize his arm as much, and they say he can't throw. Because why would this team choose to use his legs more than his arm? If he's a quarterback, shouldn't they be focused on utilizing his arm? If they already know the talents of his legs, you shouldn't have to worry about that. Focus on his arm. Show off his arm. He's a quarterback. That is where the overall perception of Lamar Jackson really lies on, and why so many people believe he can't really throw the football, and they don't trust him to throw the football. Now, of course, there's several factors. Again, like as Ravens fans, we pointed out, again, he's not working with the best of weapons. He doesn't have the type of weapons you see with Mahomes. He doesn't have the type of weapons you see with Kyler. He doesn't have the type of weapons you see with Baker. He's just making do with what he has. Baker, Mahomes, and Kyler all have proven guys on their team. They have proven receivers. We have receivers that are still trying to make a name for themselves. They haven't proven themselves in this league. That's what Lamar Jackson's working with. Young guys, not proven veterans. Yet despite that, he's been able to still be successful. So that's why us as Ravens fans, we're willing to push back. I'm not saying I agree with all these people that say he can't throw. Obviously, I don't. I've been very vocal on that. But I understand where they're coming from because from the outside point of view, you look at the Ravens and all you see is them utilizing this man's legs. Overutilizing for everything. When you need to get a first down on 3rd and long, you just got to use his legs. 3rd and short, you got to use his legs. When you want to get a quick first down, just use his legs. What's the point in utilizing your receivers when you got Lamar Jackson? You can use his legs. They look at that from the outside point of view and say, well, all they really do in this offense is utilize his legs, so how can I really trust in his arm because we're not seeing him use his arm the way we want it to? I can understand where they're coming from with that, and that makes sense. A person's perception is their reality, and as long as the perception of Lamar Jackson is he can't throw because the reality of the situation is they use his legs more than they do with his arm. As long as that continues to be the case for the Ravens offense, people will never, ever trust in Lamar Jackson's ability to throw the football. Now, again, me personally, I trust in the man's ability to throw the football. Because again, I've argued that this man isn't running an offense that's built to show off his arm. He's just running the offense the Ravens want to run. This is a run-first offense. This is a Greg Roman system. This is exactly what the Ravens would want to run. This team, this entire franchise was built off the run game and defense. So the fact that they have one of the best defense in the league and the #1 rushing attack, they take pride in that because that's what they want to do. They're not looking to show off the passing game. They're not looking to show off Lamar's arm because all they want to do is play great defense and run the football. That is what our franchise has been built off of. So they run this system. However, as long as they continue to run this system and they continue to utilize Lamar Jackson's legs while ignoring his arm, the public's going to sit back and look at this and say, well, he can't throw. They only use his legs. They don't use his arm nearly as much. So how can we say he can throw? How can I trust them down the stretch in the playoffs to win the game by his arm if they're not utilizing his arm? And again, that is a great question. I trust in Lamar Jackson's ability to throw the football. A lot of Ravens flock trust in Lamar Jackson's ability to throw the football. But as long as the team chooses to utilize his legs more than his arm, the public is not going to believe in this man's ability to throw the football. So that's why he has this perception on him. And until the Ravens change, that's always going to be there. Now, I do believe the perception of Lamar Jackson's ability to throw the football can change. It's not going to change with everybody because there are already people out there who will not change their mind about Lamar Jackson no matter what happens. He can win 3 Super Bowls. It don't matter. He can win as many Super Bowls as he wants. They're not changing their perspective on him. They will always question his ability to throw the football. They will always call him a running back or something else. They're not changing their mind. But there are a lot of people out there who stand tall with this debate and saying that they don't trust in his ability to throw the football. However, they do believe that if he can make improvements, And if they can change up this offense and really utilize his arm, and we get to see all this talent that Ravens flock wants to boast about Lamar Jackson, if they could see that, they're willing to change their mind. That's just how it is. And honestly, I think with that, I might want to talk about that in another video, because I believe that is one of the main parts that the Ravens need to focus on. And that's one of the main changes that needs to happen in order for this offense to revolve. In order for this offense to evolve. What is wrong with me, man? I've been talking too long. But yeah, honestly, I'm not going to speak much on it, but those design runs for Lamar Jackson are a big part of why people don't trust his arm. It's also a big part of what's holding this offense back, specifically this passing game. We need to get rid of that. I will probably speak on that sometime later on, because that's a video that as we start to see what the Ravens are trying to do and the moves they got to make, and as we get close to training camp, I feel like that's something we definitely got to talk about in terms of evolving the offense. I think we got to get rid of those design runs. If you don't completely get rid of them, you need to minimize them, because you've got two great backs in J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards. You don't have to keep utilizing Lamar Jackson's legs via design runs. Not to mention, the man's ability to scramble is the best in the league. If he needs to take off because nobody's open, he can do that. You don't need to continue to use him in these design runs. Those carries that you're using on design runs should be utilized for extra pass plays. Maybe a quick pass to Hollywood Brown or Devin Duvernay and let them take off for some yards after carry, potentially get the first down. Either that or a screen pass or something, or maybe just simply handing the ball off to JK or Gus. Use those Lamar Jackson design run carries for something else to expand this offense. But I'm not going to talk more about that here. I'll save that for another video. Anyway, that is all I got. Yeah, the perception of Lamar Jackson will not change until the Ravens change their offense. When the Ravens finally decide to utilize his arm more than his legs, then people will accept it. Now, if they want to keep this run-first offense type of style, that's fine. But at the end of the day, with Lamar himself, you've got to get rid of these design runs and utilize his arm more. Otherwise, this offense is going to continue to be stagnant, which I'll speak on more. And the perception of Lamar Jackson's ability to throw the football will still remain questioned. That being said, that's all I got, man. Oh, man, this was definitely an interesting one. Probably could have spoke more on that, but you know what? It is what it is. I understand where people are coming from with this debate, and it's going to continue to be debated until we see some changes. But I still believe in Lamar Jackson's ability. I know he's going to improve because the man never stops working. That's why he's my favorite player in the league, favorite quarterback. I love this man. I love this man on the football field. No question. I absolutely have 100% confidence and belief in this guy's ability. And if this team can evolve alongside Lamar, we really can win a Super Bowl with this guy. Because trust me, if you don't get talent like this often, this is the most talented quarterback we've had in franchise history. And if we waste this man's talents and we fail to get a Super Bowl with him, it will be the biggest shame in franchise history. You got one with Dilfer, you got one with Flacco. You have to get one with Lamar. With that being said, that's all I got, and I'm out of here, man. Peace!